All right, good morning, everybody, on this November 9th, noontime day on a glorious day in Newport. Summer is back. The boat ramp was active this weekend. It's just like the election was over, the sun was shining, and life was better. You know, we could all breathe a little bit of relaxation for now. So it's nice to have that behind us. We've got that behind us. We've got the World Sailing election behind us, and we've also had reason to celebrate with Taylor Canfield and his Stars+Stripes crew winning the Bermuda Cup and the Open World Match Racing Championships. And so Taylor, welcome back. Good to have you here. And so let me see if I can share a screen here and tee up the video. I don't know if everybody saw this, but I thought it was pretty entertaining. And then we can give you a couple of minutes of grill here. So this is thanks to to our friends down at Bermuda. Can you guys see it okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I think we're sailing the boat really well. We feel very comfortable that if we're behind, we can come from behind and pass the guy. So, yeah, just minimizing the silly mistakes and keeping the umpires out of our game, and I think it'll be no problem for us.
I think we're going to just keep focusing on our own game. We feel like we've got the game to beat him in most areas, but we just need to make sure that we execute, on the day. Well, it's obviously extremely disappointing for the JC Pindar to come out second here at the World Championship final in Bermuda. Obviously, the penalties had a big impact on the final, and we were mostly on the wrong side of them. And it's rough when that happens, but you've just got to suck it up, accept it's part of the game, and we'll try and come back stronger next year.
I haven't really match raced monohulls in over a year and a half, so to come here and keep pushing and get beat up a little bit in the first round and kind of rally through that was incredible. So come away with the win, we're so thrilled. I always say I hate hitting boats, and it's unfortunate that we had the collision in the finals, but to be honest, it was on Ian Williams this time, and we did everything we could to avoid, and he put us in a spot that was unavoidable to avoid the collision. So yeah, it went our way, and the penalties went our way, and we won the race, and we're devastated that we did damage to the boats, but always good to take the win. Personally, I didn't make it easy on our team, but we're thrilled to come away with the win, and props to the guys. I couldn't do it without them. I put us in a lot of tough spots this week, and they always trusted me and relied on me, and I relied on them, and we always came out of it pretty well. We kept pushing behind or ahead, and I think that's a testament to how much drive and dedication these guys have to coming and winning this event.
All right. Well, hey, that was fun to watch, man. I didn't get much work done for me. It was, it's fun to watch.
All right,
I got Robbie Nash teed up. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, gotcha.
All right, good. All right, Taylor. So the quote there was you were hoping to keep the umpires out of the game, but ultimately that was your play.
Yeah, well, never looking to bring them in, to be honest. But yeah, I think there are situations where that you need to bring them into the game, and especially when there's blatant fouls like that. Yeah, it is unfortunate that we're banging up some boats out there, but that's kind of always been part of the match racing game. I'm sure Ed's got some good stories as well that he could share with us, and Tony Ray and the rest of the crew here. But
never had any kind of contact. Never brought the umpires in at all. No, never.
Yeah.
Hey, I was interested though that for sailing those boats for all the years that we did that event and all the teams that we saw doing that event. It's the first time that I've seen a group come in with 5 on board. You guys obviously brought smaller people to make the weight limit, but it must have been interesting to have that extra set of hands.
Yeah, absolutely. We actually, in 2018, when we won the Gold Cup as well, we sailed with 5 people. Just made one substitute, Michael Manager for George Pete from the last edition that we participated in. And yeah, it's super handy having the extra hands. It was a massive dip for us. We all sailed a Melders 24 event in Charleston, and we're basically not eating, not drinking for a few days out. And I think I ended up losing like 13 pounds myself to make it into the weight. So we showed up the night before the event, and got the COVID test, the brain tickle we like to call it. And yeah, it was tough. So I think that definitely affected us in the early rounds of showing up to the event late and being dehydrated and hungry, and quarantined in the room basically till the morning of racing, and waiting for that negative test result to come back to know if we're going to be even able to go racing that afternoon. So pretty crazy turn of events, but it's glad we made it and it all worked out.
Yeah, that was pretty. I was going to say it was pretty.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say it's pretty dramatic at that committee boat there. What actually happened? He just got hooked inside you, or what happened leading up to that?
Yeah, so that was actually a media boat. So not at the committee boat. The boat was not anchored. Yeah, I mean, we were just on starboard from a long way out, and he was on port. And I guess we take a lot of criticism for everyone saying that we had a way out to turn to the right. But I think that at some point, when you're in that much control with the right of way, it's on the other boat to keep clear. And we felt that Ian Williams didn't do so. And as everyone knows, sailing these boats, they don't turn very quickly. There's a large overhang. And, if we got to a point where there's just nowhere else to go other than to try to minimize the turn. So turning with him, we hope that would cause a lot less damage than trying to turn away and maybe take out the backstay and pull one of the rigs down. So yeah, it's again, it is unfortunate, but I think he was a keep clear boat from a long way out and just didn't do so.
Taylor, having raced match racing in both low performance boats like these and in high performance boats, including multi-hulls, what is your perspective on what makes for a more interesting match race?
Yeah, so I always believe that the match racing is so much better in the monohulls and the slower boats. I've always enjoyed racing, all the different types of boats on the tour. I thought that was a really unique characteristic of the World Match Racing Tour, that you show up to, a different venue in a different country and you sail a different boat. And you really had to have a super broad range of skill sets to, compete in, these 26-foot asymmetrical sport boats, and then, hopping into the IODs and the Catalina 37s. And, every boat that we hop into, you have different skill and you have a different group of guys with you sometimes. And so for me, the match racing game in the monohulls has always been amazing. And I'm hoping that we can see a lot of that come back. I think, James Pleasant's doing a great job with the World Match Racing Tour, trying to kind of revamp what the tour used to be back in the day. We had that small stint in the multi-hulls and the M32s where, we were ripping around 25 knots, having a lot of fun. But yeah, I think the match racing will always have I guess a better home in the monohulls for me. Don't get me wrong, I love racing the M32s, but fleet racing those boats is way more fun for me.
Dave,
Who's your crew, Taylor?
I want to know if we're going to see the same media boat next year for the 2021 Gold Cup. What do you think, Taylor?
Yeah.
Is that guy coming back to have his boat on the race course?
I would say unlikely. And to be honest, it's pretty crazy how many spectator boats were out there, like anchored in the playground, they call it, in the pre-start area.
Yeah.
And like I said, these boats just aren't that maneuverable, especially in, we probably had breeze up to 28 knots or so that last day. And as you could see in a lot of the video, it got a little bit loose at times. And so I definitely wouldn't have my boat in the mooring field if I were just spectating. But hopefully, the damage was not too bad, and we'll see the regatta wanting to continue to push forward, and these people, still supporting it. And that's what we need for the sport. But and then on top of that, someone asked who the crew was, and it's a great question. I said in the video that I couldn't do it without these guys, and I probably made the most mistakes by far out of our entire team. Struggled to get off the starting line early in the event, and they just kept pushing. So Mike Buckley, Michael Menninger, Victor Diaz de Leon, and Eric Champagne. And they did an incredible job. I think, again, that the fact that they just kept pushing and always trying to get better. We had a lot of great debriefs kind of throughout the early stages, and just trying to make sure that we're all doing our jobs as best we can. And a lot of us got thrown into positions that, well, not myself, but a lot of the guys on board got thrown into positions that they maybe not so comfortable doing or not used to doing. So, but everyone stepped it up. And again, I always live by the saying, it's like, do your job well and things will go well. And everyone really committed to that and put their hearts into it. So it's really cool to see the team come together.
When the boat gets wobbly like it does like that, and I know you don't have much throw with the tiller because you end up hitting the coaming, right? I mean, how bad does that feeling get when it starts to feel like you're really going to lose it downwind?
Going downwind?
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, it's definitely a lack of control. It takes a lot of work from both the helmsman and the trimmers and the crew on the boat to try to counteract that roll and making sure it doesn't get too aggressive. A lot of people think that the boats are actually going their quickest when they're rocking and rolling downwind like that. And I'm sure we could get some IOD specialists to weigh in on that. But yeah, it gets to a point where, the boom's hitting the water, spin pole's hitting the water, and it just kind of gets more and more aggressively, the rock just gets more and more aggressive, and you're just trying to do everything you can to counteract it. But yeah, you're right. And it also depends on the boat a little bit. All the boats are a little bit different, and how much throw you have on the tiller to be able to, push and pull. And trying not to put too many bruises on Mike Buckley's leg, who's standing behind me with the main sheet. And so it's exciting, that's for sure. And we probably did 7 or 8 jibes down that in the last race on the first run. Maybe 3 or 4 of them were on purpose.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was an exciting time. And there was a penalty on, and we ended up getting an offsetting penalty, and it was basically just a race to the finish from there. And I think, again, we had the better boat handling and the better boat speed, and came out on top.
Those boats have been around quite a long time now. Are they still fairly even in speed, or they're, you say you have little different personalities with the swing of the tiller, etc., but are they speed about even, or what?
So hard to tell. Hamilton Harbor is a special place. It's just so shifty, puffy. Every direction gives you a little bit something different. So hard to tell if they're all perfectly equal. But the regatta organizers do a good job trying to take the win-loss record of all the boats and match up the boats that they think are good pairs for the knockout stages. And yeah, I can only think maybe 1 or 2 boats that we thought weren't really up to the highest level. And those boats got paired together in the knockout round, and we actually sailed them in the quarterfinals, and they seemed very, very even. So but yeah, they are very different as far as setup goes. I mean, where the travelers and the backstays and the main sheets are led to, it's pretty crazy how some boats have cabin top winches for the spinnaker sheets, and some just have the 2 primary winches that you have to swap the jib sheet and spinnaker sheet onto, depending upwind or downwind. It's all different down below. All the jib hydrans are led down below, so you got to send someone down to drop the jib at the top mark and then hoist it back out before you round the bottom. It's so yeah, we definitely put a lot of time into setting up each boat we got into. Victor Diaz de Leon kind of led the charge with that, and he has a lot of control lines that he needs to be perfect on the dot. And so we spend a lot of the time when we first get into the boat, trying to focus on making sure that we have these definitive marks on all the control lines to make sure that we can sail this thing, super, mindlessly around the course.
And the yellow on the peppercorn that you won in, was that the same as last time, or is that the golden boat?
Yeah, I think now that I think back on it, I think we may have won in 2018 in the peppercorn as well. Just funny enough, I think that's always been a known boat that's been pretty quick in the fleet. And but the boat that it was sailing against, I think it was Falcon, was absolutely, almost in my opinion, a little bit quicker. So especially in the big breeze, it seemed like we could get a little more head stay tension on that boat, and without over bending the main. And so yeah, it's again, it is tricky, and they all are a little bit different, but I think there's ways to work around the differences between the boats, and I think that's what we prioritize to make sure that we are going as fast as we can at all times.
Nice. I got one more for you. I did speak with Mike Buckley on Friday, and we got talking on the social justice messaging on your jerseys, which I know was important for him and for what I know the Stars and Stripes brand. Maybe speak to that a little bit and what you think the impact was on the visibility, what you guys can do now that Bermuda's done and dusted, and you got a certain event ahead and some space between.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that's always been a goal of, ever since Mike and I started Stars and Stripes. It's always been a goal to be as inclusive as we can. And I think that, our sport maybe in the past hasn't done the best job with that. And, we're looking to hopefully, lead by example and try to push that forward as much as we can. And, getting as many new people into the sport as we can. And getting more women into the sport and getting people of different, ethnicities and color into the sport. I think it's a huge thing that we should all be focusing on moving forward. And, especially with all the social challenges we've been going through lately, especially here in the US, I think it's, I think with the platform like this at a World Championship, I think we have the ability to, push this forward and really show how we can make change. And, that's going to be a big goal of ours moving forward. Something we believe in.
All right. Good luck with that, man. Well, anybody else for Taylor here before we check in with everybody else?
Let's see just that moment of truth again one more time, Dave. Let's see how you can cue up your YouTube skills without seeing Robbie Nash.
Oh, geez.
I'll just say too, really quick, it's awesome to just be back on the water racing, but for Bermuda as a country to put this event on and for the World Match Racing Tour to make it happen, I can't really think of, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't think of any other World Championships that happened this year in the sailing world. So it's pretty cool that this was successful. And I think that, this shows that there is a way to move forward in a safe manner. And it's going to, 5 COVID tests later, going to Bermuda, it's, a bit of a pain, but I think there is room for it in, even these hard trying times. So hopefully we can see a lot more events start to revamp and a lot more people get back on the water.
Well, I'm reminded, Taylor, about the, how young you are compared to many of us here, and that you're surprised when you see boats that put the spinnaker pole in the water and then the boom in the water. And, for most of us, that's just how things were in the 70s and 80s. That's how all boats were. And so it's pretty, but you're right. The one difference is that with the rudder hanging on the back of the keel of this old design, the maneuverability goes way down and you don't get a chance to catch up once you get started on the bad rolls. Good fun.
Yeah, really good fun. Enjoy it.
So I've actually got a question about that topic, Ed. You speak about, these non-maneuverable boats, right, with the keel hung rudder. You'd think that a Melges 24 would be a pretty maneuverable boat to match race, right? What do you think? Really maneuverable.
Yeah. Where are you going with this, Tony?
Well, I want to speak to a guy who's on our call, who Peter Eisler, who I don't know if Ed remembers this. I bet Peter probably blocked it out of his mind. But we did a match race somewhere in the late 90s in Melges 24s. And right when the class was new,
Knickerbocker Cup.
I was crewing for you, Ed.
It was the Knickerbocker Cup
against Pedro in the finals. And my specific memory of this was it was he was on port, tacking at each other, and Pedro went to dip. And I remember that you were wearing blue jeans and bare feet, Pedro. And you must have slipped, your jeans were wet or something, blame it on the denim, but you went down right as you were dipping us, and that bow eye that's like halfway up the Melges bow just augured in, blam, and just carbon everywhere.
And I have video of it.
Absolute mess. And I don't remember who won the race, but I do remember seeing the TV footage of it after, and it just shows you it's all blue jeans, and then whoop, bang. And I think that was the last time they used the Melges 24s.
Well, if you've got the video, Gary, maybe you could tee that up for us next week. It'd be good. Good.
There you go.
You could take a walk down there.
Good memories, Tony. You bring up, that's the last pro match race I ever did, right then and there. And interestingly, the first one was the Gold Cup, what was back then the Gold Cup, which Taylor just won. So IODs to 24s, they're all fun, right? As long as you can sail against your friends and hit them a few times.
So, Peter, you had some success this weekend as well. I want to keep going with you. You had a hot rum series out in San Diego. You hopped on a J105, and I hear you pulled off the win. What's that all about?
Yeah, no brain tickles, so it's a little terrorizing. But my band plays every weekend usually, and this couple who are fans invited my wife Miriam and a bunch of her friends to go sailing with them on a J105 in the first hot rum race. What could go wrong? Well, I got conscripted to do it too, so I was committed. And then, of course, come race day, it's the first front of the season. And the forecast is rain. I mean, the girls are like, what are we going to wear? And well, what about all the champagne and wine we're bringing and stuff? So we had a totally newbie crew on a J105 blowing 20 or puffing to 20 plus in San Diego, which is a lot. They chickened out and raced us inside. And we ended up winning overall. There were 115 entered and 75 boats finished. It's the classic 3-race hot rum series. It's the reverse start where everybody's handicap is calculated ahead of time. So you start so that if the ratings are correct and the wins are totally separate, steady, you all finish at the same time. So it was a thrill. And I can't remember. I'm not like Kenny Legler. I can't remember all my previous races, but sure, if I've ever won a hot rum overall, it's been a long time ago. So that was really a lot of fun, but we didn't get a brain tickle. So we better do that now.
Well, it's cool to see things are active in San Diego. That's all good. The hot rum. So the hot rum is a one weekend thing, or is it a couple?
3. So there's 3 weekends over about 5 weeks or so. It used to be back in the day, the hot rum, the entry fee was a bottle of rum, and then they would pour it all and they would make the communal hot rum. Of course, these days, there is no event or social event after the racing. It's all just the racing, but it was cool to see so many boats out. But as Taylor was saying, there's not that much practice that goes on these days. So there's a lot of pretty questionable boat handling, including on our boat.
All right, and I did take some time today to watch, not live, but I guess the recorded version of your Marine Weather University on the American Sailing Association Facebook page, and I would say it was really cool. So for anybody watching this episode after the fact, definitely worth heading on over. Do you have a lot of people signed up, or what's the attraction so far on that one?
Yeah, no, it seems like that if you give away really good courses for free, you can get lots and lots of people to sign up. And of course, a couple months ago, Chris Bedford and I finished up the curriculum for our theoretically for-profit Marine Weather University. But it's fun to do some free courses, and it gains awareness. We had over 3,000 people registered for that ASA course, and of course, having the American Sailing Association help spread the word about it was fun. And thankfully, Chris continues to fight the visa process of getting down to New Zealand to be Terry and American Magic's team meteorologist, so he was still available to do it. But pretty soon he'll be out of town, and he did a great job. He basically condensed all 16 classes of the advanced course into one 1-hour lecture.
Yeah, very cool. So if anybody hasn't seen it, it's definitely worth a look with a good beer and a notepad. I think take away some cheater notes.
Yeah, well, I'm actually almost done editing it right now, and it'll be up at the Marine Weather University site soon, as well as at asa.com. But I think currently, if you go right now, it's still on the ASA Facebook page.
All right, better get it while you can then. All right, Jonathan, what have you been up to up northwest? Things have settled down. The protests are they trickling to an end, and life is resuming normal?
Yeah, I don't know what normal life is these days, but yeah, there's, we had kind of a sputtering sailing season here, mostly either shorthanded in the keel boats or in dinghies. So as November rolls around, that's coming to an end. Although we did go taser sailing last Sunday, it was really cold, and we could only sail for like an hour and a half before it was like, okay, time to go in. Well, your hands can still unscrew the shackles. So winter's here. I'm going down next week to coach my offshore team. They set up shop down in Port Royal, South Carolina. So hopefully we don't get too much after effects from this latest tropical storm. But yeah, our plan is to go offshore for a few days and really test the durability of our sailors. So I'll be there to witness that.
Are you going offshore?
Jonathan, can I ask, how does that work if you're coaching the offshore teams? Are you going to follow them in a blue VSR with a bunch of gas cans? Or are you in your foul weather gear? Are you going to be on board with them?
I have been on board. I mean, I'm trying to work out, and I think all of us are, you know, what is the best way to coach this discipline? And it's the easiest thing so far has been to be on board. So we're focusing on our solo training for this session. So essentially I'll be, you know, helping to, you know, administer the session and run the tests and stuff like that, but trying to not do too much of the sailing myself. And I have a counterpart on the other boat doing the same thing. So it's what we call solo plus one, where we make the athletes, you know, do all the work and we observe and we're ready to help if things come up.
Nice. Do you rotate the pairs around, or they go off and that's who they're with for the session?
Well, we're not sure how that's going to work, but our goal is to rotate the pairs.
Cool stuff. All right. Well, I hear that Port Royal is now the new cool epicenter down south. So you're in a cool zone with a bunch of slicked up race boats down there, huh?
Yeah, it'll be cool to see. I've never seen it, but it's sort of becoming a little bit of a nexus for place where people can keep their boat over the winter and things like that. And there's a little bit of energy around that, partly coming from Ralph Stites and the Maritime Academy. He's brought in a lot of his boats down there and has a significant presence there.
Yeah, good cheap place to put boats and operate out of, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Ed, how about you? You've been boat building lately, I hear.
Yeah, I've been taking my big fat fingers and trying to tie tiny little knots to put the Dragonflight 95 together, and we're getting there. But it's tricky to see how it's supposed to go. Everything is so little, but a neat concept. These boats are all one design. Everything's sort of pre-done inside of them for you. So you know, it should be, once we get all the sails tied on and the mast put together, and we should be able to go sailing pretty soon.
Yeah, do you have a pretty good fleet down there, or how's it coming along?
Well, the idea for me was that I have a house full of sons that all sail, and they come over and we have dinner and we have fun talking and you know, playing board games or whatever. But we live on the water, and wouldn't it be fun to just have a couple of boats that we could plop in off the dock and race around inter-family? So we're planning on doing that. And I think, you know, it may grow from there, but as far as I know, there are some people in the area that have similar boats, but the goal for us isn't so much to go out and race as a class as it is to have entertainment off the dock when we have our gatherings of the family.
And is it a kit boat?
What's that?
The kit boat?
Yeah, it comes in a box and you just start putting things together. And, you know, I haven't gotten it in the water yet. Dave's had one all summer that he put together, but then someone else sailed. So maybe he knows more about it than I do. I don't know, but it seems like a pretty popular deal up in Newport. They got a whole bunch of them. And there are places around Florida where there's fleets of them. I think in Lauderdale, they put some of the smaller ones, the 65s, which are, you know, 2/3 the size. They put them in the water and sail them off the dock at Lauderdale. But yeah, here we are, you know, with the exception of Bermuda that had a big event for us this last 2 weeks ago. Most of us are just, you know, really wishing for an opportunity to get sailing somehow. So, you know, this at least gives us that option here.
Oh, they're pretty cool boats. I'll have to get a COVID test and come race you at some point. I got a 95 and 265, so got a full fleet of them.
Okay, you bring your 65 and we'll go at it.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a fleet of like probably 50, 60 65s in Miami, which is pretty cool. They started every Tuesday night. They started racing them out of Coconut Grove Sailing Club. And it was unfortunately not so much anymore with COVID, but we'd all go down and race for 2 hours depending on when the sun set, and then we'd all hit up the sandbar for some tacos afterwards. Is a really fun way to spend one of your weeknights.
Well, we're hoping that the family enjoys it in a similar way, and maybe there's a couple other families in the neighborhood that would like to come and join us, and we'll just have some big fun evenings together.
There you go. Fastest growing one design fleet in the world / North America for sure. So I know you'll be at the North Americans next year, Ed. So I'm looking forward to it. You can say you're not going to do it, but I know you will eventually.
Yeah, I'll be there coaching my kids.
So the key I was taught was to good magnifying glass that like needlepoint people use, but that ends in a good set of bent tweezers, right, to tie the knots for those of us with fat fingers. So and corrosive X on all the terminals, right, Taylor? And take care of those electronics. They're cheap, but they do fail.
Yep.
Cool. All right, Tony, you got something new quickly, or you're in a new loft down, I guess technically Middletown, Rhode Island. And
yeah. I tell you what, we're gonna try this real quick. This is what sail lofts look like when they're under construction for the most part. But we'll give you the quick tour. We are right by First Beach in Middletown. If it's too noisy, just wave. And but we're getting the floor cut today for some new pits for the sewing machine.
There you go. Much more empty than it used to be. So we're doing a spinnaker here. This is Arena. Just wave. All right, we'll go back in where it's a little quieter. So it's a bit like democracy. It's under construction all the time. We are definitely under construction, but we're also building sails, fixing sails, hopefully selling sails too. What we found amazingly is a lot of people are interested to talk about it, to get some sails set for the next time they get to go racing and cruising. So we're pushing forward, and hopefully the sport catches up, and we've set up what we've got going on here in Middletown at the right time. But so this is a nice kind of a shoulder season, call it, where we can be home in Newport and not off on airplanes, and out here building our loft and bringing in new employees. And it's all a bit scary, to be honest, but it's going good. Yeah.
You need your logo over your shoulder there, your sail company.
You're not wrong. We're so new here, Gary. Actually, the wall behind me is probably going to get torn down in the next 2 weeks. I figured it wasn't even worth banging nails in.
All right. Well, good luck with that. When we get a nice build on the shop floor, you can show us. What's the good inventory that's coming into you?
It's a mix. We got 2 super yacht mainsails, more than 100-foot sailboats. We're building the mainsail starting this month, and we got a couple Grand Prix sail. It's a mix. It's a crazy mix, and a lot of service. A lot of the big super yachts that are sort of in New England, Newport, and kind of Maine, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, they're all heading south now in the Caribbean. So they all want all the repairs done and service done and new UV covers put on the sails. So those get, a fork truck comes and picks them up and slides them on the truck downtown. And the nice thing is we're only 5 minutes from the shipyard, so we can take care of these guys. And then as soon as November 1st rolls around, that's when the hurricane exclusion comes off their insurance. So off they go. So it's just a surprisingly busy time for the business.
At some point in time, can we get you guys in and make some Dragon Flight 95 cut sails down there? Is that an option?
We'd be crazy to turn business away, Dave. Tell you what, Taylor, now that you're in town for a little bit, we can come down and do a little custom work for you.
Okay, I like it. I'm in.
Special friends and family discount.
Yeah.
I remember I sailed a little bit in the T-37, which is kind of a similar model boat. And it was the cheapest suit of sails I ever bought. Finally, I decided after sailing for a couple months, okay, my jib's looking a little tattered. So signed up for a new suit of sails. It was $39 for the main and jib. So it might not be a big money maker for you.
Yeah, we're gonna need a little more volume for that one.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, hey, well, so we're speaking of offices, we're doing some cleaning here as well, and so we have these what's called flat art drawers from the old days where they do original illustrations. And they're such cool stuff that we've been sitting on. I don't know whether they're the 80s, 90s. Anyway, I thought this was old school. Like, Gary, I thought of this one for you from a world sailing perspective. You guys remember this? This is obviously out of ISAP World Sailing Meeting back in the day. You see what's in the
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, back when this is how they pick Olympic classes, right? Remember that? Huh? Jet, a 49er. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a good shot.
Anybody wants it, I'll send it off to you in the mail. But give us.
Do you have some Brad Dellenbaugh originals?
Jim Sollers was his name. We've got all sorts of great drawings. And actually, here's another one I thought I was going to show you, Gary. Back in the day. Back in the day of pro sailing. I don't know if you remember this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
stadium sailing.
there you go.
Yeah, I remember that. It was pretty cool. We never got Xerox or Pepsi to sponsor 7-Up. It looks good.
There you go. So if anybody needs any bathroom art, let me know. I'll put it in the mail and send them off to you. Cool illustrations. But the 30-second view of the world sailing. What you're out. You get to relax now. What's going on there?
Amazing how my calendar seems to be opening up. Well, look, the new board looks good to me, and Quan Hai Lee, got to know really well over the last 8 years. I think he'll be a good president, and I feel pretty good. Just this very morning, I had a phone call with all the new board, doing a handoff. Scott Perry and I from Uruguay gave them our long list of things to focus on, and for me, I feel pretty good. Feel good because we got a double-handed long-distance race in the Olympic Games. That was my idea. And I felt really good to make that happen. I also credit Stan Honey for also working hard to pull that together. We got gender equity in the Olympic Games. We in numbers, quotas for Rio and Tokyo, and then we'll have equal number of medals in Paris and LA. So I feel really good about that. So some progress was made, but I feel like I have a ton of weight off my shoulders now.
Excellent. All right, so I'll give you the 30-second. What next then for you?
Oh, I have a book I'm working on now on the 100th anniversary of the E-Scout class. And when I finish that up, I have another book, a contract to do. It'll have 4 chapters. U.S. sailing, Tony will know about that. World sailing, the Olympic Games, and the America's Cup. And I have a full file cabinet over here filled with stuff and good stories. I'm going to let it rip. So anyway, that's what's on my docket.
Don't pull any punches. Hey, I just want to thank Gary for his years of service with World Sailing. I'm sure you were a hugely positive influence. So thanks a lot. Also want to shout out to Tony for stepping up to help the leadership of U.S. sailing.
There you go.
Thank you, Jonathan. That's very good. And we all wish Tony well. He'll be a great board member there.
Excellent. All right. Well, we got I think we're up against our time limit here. And last time I forgot to do it, your one design quiz of the week. So I'm gonna lay this one on you. So this one should be easy. I don't know. We'll see. So this bad boy is actually a very active class at the moment. Any takers?
That's the Y-Flyer.
You got it, Ed. There you go. Nice. Look at that. Look at that shot. That thing's what incredible. But I guess so. I'm told. There's a whole fleet of them blossoming in Charleston, South Carolina. With they got builders, they've got new boats coming online. The fleet's growing by boats every week. So,
Wow.
Well,
Did you see that classic yachting cap from back in the day? It was inspired by Gary's America's Cup skipper. That was, back in the day. If you wore one of those, you were fast.
Ted bought about 40 of those things at some Army Navy store for 25 cents each, and they would fly off, and he always had another one going. There it is. Look at that.
I thought that was Ted.
That might be Ted.
I didn't know he sailed Y-Flyers, but who knew?
Yeah. Do you think that was down in Georgia?
No, I have no idea where this photo was taken. This one's
pulled. A lot of waves from a lake.
But they apparently they have a nice fleet growing there, and that's the one design class of the day down south. So
those were competitors. they were competitors to the fireball, except for without the trapeze. And yeah, it seemed like I remember a lot of those being around Florida when I was a kid.
Well, they're looking for old boats to fix up. Like I said, they got a new builder and it's active. So more positivity.
All right, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Nice job, Dave.
Feels like a new year. We'll see you either next week or the week after.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thank
All
you
right,
all.
Dave.
See you guys.
Well done, Taylor.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you guys. See ya.